Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here, and I'm here again for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. I just noticed Baram Irani is out somewhere doing something, but he may not be here, but we'll have other guests throughout the session. This session is specifically a debrief of the fourth test between India and England. Hallelujah, India once again have won what was classified as unthinkable. They were not in a position, you would argue, in the day four to be confident of victory, and they certainly did, and did very, very well. Not forgetting that India had England were none for 100 before Shardul Thakur, the man of the match, in my opinion, came on and took the wicket off a beautiful ball that moved away, and in fact led to a collapse of sorts where 110 runs were added for 10 wickets effectively. And England were all out for 210, again in the fourth innings failure, you would argue. And that meant that England were beaten, India won by a resounding 157 runs. There was some interesting predictions that I had on my show, the pre-show yesterday, of course, from the likes of David Graveney, OBE, Order of the British Empire, and Reg Vernon, who both predicted unusually different results, including myself. Reg Vernon said there'll be a draw, with England being 8 wickets down and 80 runs to get, leading to a draw. David Graveney was very confident that England would pass India's score 6 down, which means it would have been 6 for 358 or something, with some 10 overs to spare, and Ollie Pope would hit the winning runs. Well, if I look closely, I actually don't know whether Ollie Pope had enough time to do anything, actually. He faced 11 balls for his 2 runs. So I don't think he would have had much chance of scoring and winning runs. So effectively, that was also an incorrect prediction. Mine was the closest. I said 214, and then I said 240. They'll be all out just after tea, and that's exactly what did happen. They were all out after tea for 210 rather than 214 or 240. So I was pretty close, and I predicted that, and I thought the likes of Bumrah would lead the charge. I did think Siraj would get some wickets, but he didn't get any wickets. But Yadav took 3. Bumrah and Jadeja both took 2 and took very significant wickets, and Shardul Thakur started the rot with the wicket of Rory Burns. And then, of course, he took the very important wicket of Joe Root. And that, to me, is a very, very significant effort indeed. So the debrief is, we'll look at some aspects of both teams. The non-selection of Ashwin, quite frankly, the non-selection of Jack Leach. Butlers obviously went off to be with his wife when she delivered her baby, or their baby. In fact, he's now, if you looked at, there's just been an updated England squad for the last test. They've brought back Josh Buttler and added Leach in as well as the spinner, which intrigues me. That means that they may well be using him in the last test, which doesn't make much sense, as we're hearing that the Old Trafford Manchester pitch is actually nothing but a fast bowler's paradise, with seam and cut, swing, overhead conditions, rain, so not needing a spinner. But they brought him back into the squad at the last test, which is rather bizarre. That may give impetus to India considering the inclusion of Ravichandra Ashwin in the side as well, which will be 1 match too late, but arguably not too late, because India won without him. India won convincingly, very convincingly, without Ashwin. You'd almost say there's a vindication of Kohli. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about, as I said, the non-selection of Ashwin, the non-selection of Jack Leach, you would argue, is another point. England didn't necessarily play that badly. I think India just played very, very well. And I'm going to stress very closely on the points about Virat Kohli and his captaincy and the significance of his captaincy. You would have to take into account that in terms of stats, in terms of records, all records, and if you look at, and I look at Cricinfo, and I look at stats such as captaincies and the like. I'll have a look. There should be a selection there of individual records, partnership, all-round, fielding, wicket keeping. There should be one about individual records. I think, and we'll look at that now. And captains, most matches as captain, for example. Most matches as captain for any country. Graham Smith still holds a record there of 109 tests, which is quite remarkable. Border with 93, Fleming with 80, Ponting with 77, Clive Lloyd with 74. But then along comes Virat Kohli. He has actually captained 65 test matches, has won 38 of those 65, lost 16, and tied none, and drawn 11. His win-loss ratio is 2.37. His percentage wins has dropped from 59 to 58.46, which is nothing to worry about. His percentage of losses is 24.61%, which is, if you look at the comparison, only Border and Ponting do better than that. Lloyd had an amazing 16% loss ratio. But Virat Kohli has captained for 65 tests and won 38, whereas Joe Root has captained for 56 and won 27. His percentage win ratio is 48%. Kohli's is 58. So Virat Kohli is the most capped captain of any captain for India. And he's in fact 6th on the overall listing, fast approaching Clive Lloyd in the 5th spot. Yeah, Graham Smith has a record there of, but the percentages, I'm looking at, Ricky Ponting had 62% win ratio. Border had 34, well, there's 58 for the, Steve Waugh had 71. He was probably the best. In fact, it really is Steve Waugh and Ponting that are better than Kohli, as a matter of fact. But I'm scrolling down the list now. It's a long way down. I can't see anyone anywhere near it. So really, it's only Steve Waugh with a percentage win of, what is it again? That's 71%, which is amazing. And Ponting was 62% that are in front of Kohli, who has 58. Now, please note that, especially my Indian audience, note the fact that your captain is by far the most successful Indian captain, and is in fact the 3rd highest percentage of wins overall of any captain, 2 being Australians. And you would argue that both Ponting and Waugh had very, very good cricketing sides that they played with them, so that's to their advantage. But Virat Kohli, amazing. I'm trying to see the next Indian captain that comes up. I think Ganguly has 49, and his average is 42%. No, actually, MS Dhoni is, okay, let's make a direct comparison. 6th on the list is Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is 65 tests, 38 wins, 16 losses, 11 draws, and a winning percentage of 58.46%. MS Dhoni is, in fact, I just said Kohli was 6th. 7th on that list of most captains is Dhoni. He has 60 matches with 27 wins, 18 losses, and 15 draws, and a 45% ratio. So realistically, albeit Dhoni's extremely well ranked, Kohli is actually slightly bettered him. So we've got to take our hat off. So you just mentioned Williamson, Sarah, in the notes. I've just noticed quick setups. Just mentioned Williamson. We'll look at Williamson's situation here. Williamson hasn't captained for nearly as many matches. He's only captained 37 matches. Has had 22 wins, 8 losses, and 7 draws. He has a 59.45. So he's only 1% ahead of 1 mere percent ahead of Kohli, and Kohli's almost got 28 more tests than him. So that's hardly a concern at all. How much that doesn't matter. Steve Waugh is the best captain for me. No, you're right. I'm not trying to say that Virat Kohli is the best captain ever. No. But as far as India's concerned, he's by far the most successful, the most capped captain for India, and therefore has to be given the accolades. And it was evidenced by this test. Why? The selections of the team. People were knocking Ashwin's non-selection. Well, quite frankly, he wasn't needed. The inclusion of Umesh Yadav was brilliant. The major stroke or master stroke of Shardul Thakur was brilliant. He was, to me, the man of the match, even though Rohit Sharma's century was exemplary and deserved all the accolades he got. Shardul Thakur wasn't far behind, nor was Bumrah. Bumrah's bowling was with a ball that was not doing anything, and it was old. He was able to get reverse swing, and not only reverse swing, great Yorkers to dismiss Pope, Bairstow in quick succession, and looked fantastic. Significant wickets. But Shardul Thakur took the wickets, of course, of Rory Burns to get rid of that 100-run partnership, and also the wicket of Joe Root. So and then he got 57 and 60 was his performance, especially in the first innings, where that was extremely important. And again, the second innings with punts. Look, India's got some great players there, don't deny it, but the stimulation, the impetus, the not arrogance, just the fighting capability of Kohli to win this match. Again, 65 test matches as captain, 38 victories. In fact, I'm looking at the victory column. He's got more wins than Lloyd, more wins than Fleming. It's only really Smith, Border, and Ponting that have got sizable numbers of wins, being 109, 93, and 77. But realistically, Kohli, if he continues to captain's way, is currently the 6th most capped captain. Dhoni, look, brilliant. 7th, right behind him, with 60. And a percentage record of 45, which is not bad at all. All the accolades must go to Kohli. Kohli has to. And all this talk about Kohli not being captain inside is absolute bullshit, absolute rubbish. The man has got an extremely successful, and I would have him captain every single time. Granted, there was sometimes he doesn't do everything perfectly, makes a mistake here or there. We'll have to accept that. But reality is he's been a magnificent captain. And, the people around him, you have to remember, really haven't, amazing situation. Quite frankly, amazing. And Kohli is not over yet for his Test career. He's probably going to play for 4 or 5 seasons more, if not potentially even more than that. We don't know, and could well encroach on the best records as a captain ever. Percentage-wise, he may still be beaten by War and Ponting, and War is probably the best captain ever. I won't deny that. But Kohli is right up there and is the best captain for India. Statistically exceptional. All right, so that's one thing. Bumrah's performance in that second innings was stupendous. When he needed to, he came into play. Suraj was a bit disappointing, but look, he got 8 wickets in the second test, so I'm not going to take too much away from his performances as well. He's worth being in that side. And Umesh Yadav has come in and bowled exceptionally, took the bowl exceptionally, taken the wicket of Root in the first innings and taken 3 in that last innings. All exceptional efforts, a great team effort in the bowling department. And there is an argument as to the non-selection of Ravi Chandra Ashwin, and people don't understand it. And I still took some time to understand it myself. The reality was he's the best spin bowler India got, and probably may well be of all time. Why would you leave him out? But they had to make a hard decision on. They needed more bowlers of pace. They looked at the World Test Championship. They believed that Jadeja, albeit he didn't perform that well, was seen to be a better choice, and they made the bold decision, and it worked. And it made India not rely on one bowler. They just didn't just throw the ball to, Ashwin to get him to win. Yeah, Chris is unavailable. David came yesterday before, and I'm sure he'll come in today later. And obviously we have Reg Vernon came as well. These people are not shying. They're not happy. Yes, very aggressively attitude since he got out of 19 World Cup till now. It's amazing, captain. No focus on analysis. Look, I'm sorry. You have no argument to be knocking your captain. You have no argument at all. The man has been in your helm as the leader for 65 tests, 5 more than Dhoni, has had 11 more wins than Dhoni, and has a percentage rate which is 13% better than Dhoni. I'm not saying Dhoni's not a great captain. He was a brilliant captain, especially the short format. But Virat Kohli is really, especially in the last 3 years, has really come to the fore. Even though he wasn't in charge of the last test at the Gabba, he still was in charge overall. And he is captain in India recently, and now in England, the unthinkable. They're 2-1 in front with 1 test to go. And you'd have to think they're a good chance of winning this last test. It's quite a significant position to be in, let's be honest. So that's my very strong summation. Get off Kohli's back a bit. He has been fantastic with 65 tests, 38 wins, and a percentage of 58%. Okay, so let's be off here. And also when it comes to Pujara's performances albeit second innings performances, again was stupendous. He was involved in a 153-run partnership with Sharma, and even with KL Rahul up there as well. They batted magnificently and deserve to be not concerned. The only concern will be Pujara's ankle and Rohit Sharma's knee, but Rohit Sharma seemed pretty confident. that he'll be able to play. Yeah, look, in the longer format. I'm not talking about, we're talking about Test cricket here, not about our other format. Okay, we'll talk about the great thing about Kohli is he's in contention for all-time greatest on both batsmen. Okay. Look, the man's going to be given. We expect too much of him, and he normally produces. Again, his captaincy was stupendous in this match. He got 50 in the second. What did he get? 44, 45. Again, didn't kick on. Fair enough, but look, he's done his job yet again. He's been a great captain. I love the way he gets everybody into a team huddle before the match. Brilliant. As Kohli said, we are not a team of numbers, stats, etc. So his being captain depends on form. Exactly. Rohit's debut into the 12 in Test, and it took 7 years for India management to put him as an opener, destroyed his precious time. Best looking forward. Malik, hello. The inclusion of Sky is still doubtful. As look, Shane, everyone's talking about Sky. The reality is Pujara, Rahul, Sharma, Kohli, the top four are the best in India, no doubt. Rishabh Pant got 50 with Charles. Perhaps his batting hasn't been as good, but he's still in that squad. Rahani's the only one in question, but they're not going to drop him for the last match, especially when they won a match like this. And his vice captaincy must be extremely significant to the side and is cherished as well. So Sky, who came in late in the squad with Prithvi Shaw, he wasn't there first. It was Agarwal and Bahari. It won't be getting him. I shouldn't say that they won't get a Guernsey in the last test. It's going to depend almost entirely on the situation of injuries. And Pujara and Rohit Sharma could well both not be there. And if that's the case, you would imagine Agarwal will come into the opening spot, as he was originally to be selected in that spot behind Gill. And you would imagine that Vihari would come in as well. Sky, unless Kohli decides differently, I don't think will be in the selection. And it won't be Rahane to be dropped. Otherwise, the Indian side will stay as is. You might see Shami come back in and maybe rest one of the bowlers. We don't know whether Bumrah's up to it or not, but he certainly, will be first choice if fit. England, however, have obviously added Butler back to the squad, which implies he'll be put in the team. Which, if that is the case, if Butler comes back on the side, well, Ollie Pope was the one that came in last. Will it be Ollie Pope to go out first? It'd be interesting to see what they do because he did get 81, but I don't think he necessarily has made his position certain. Wood will probably come back in and he'll probably replace Overton, unless, of course, there's an injury to one of the other bowlers. And Leach is also being considered as well. Will Leach replace Moeen Ali? We don't know. Because if Butler comes back in, he will be vice-captain. Moeen Ali will no longer be vice-captain. And with Chris Wokes probably staying in the side and the potential of Leach coming in, then you might see Moeen Ali replaced. But that'll be interesting. But yeah, going back to Kohli for a minute, we can't knock his performances. He's only lost 24%. Clive Lloyd had 16% losses, which is quite phenomenal. Steve Waugh had 15%. Interesting enough, Viv Richards had 16% too. Viv Richards captained for 50 matches for his country. Viv Richards, he had a percentage rate of 54. He's pretty damn good. So that Nawab of Patowdy, the Indian, the Patowdy Trophy as they call it, he was captain between 1962 and 1975. He had 40 games with 9 wins. So his record wasn't great, but I'm guessing that's the same Patowdy we're talking about who got the record. But Williamson, 59%. He's only 1% ahead of Kohli. And if Kohli wins the last match, that may go back up again. So look, the reality is Virat Kohli has to be applauded, everyone, and not. Well, the great teams of the 80s and 90s, there has to be a longer stretch of the West Indies. It has to be, so far, India's, let's call it stretch, is about 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 years. The Australians was a lot longer than that, and West Indies was a lot longer than that. So for India to do that, they need to keep this going for a few years longer, and they probably will, looking at the way they're going. I would imagine you'll see them in this position for a few years to come. So let's applaud India. What a magnificent win at the Oval. What a magnificent win at Lord's. In both cases, England could only get 120 and 110 respectively on the last day. Pretty ordinary, really. But is that because of the batting, or is that also because of the great intensity of the Indian side under the guidance of Kohli? I would argue it's the latter. The third test was a bit of an aberration. They got a very, very poor start with that 78 where they fell apart, and England's got a lead of, what was it, 360 odd in front, and really, even though India did fight pretty hard on the third day, they couldn't maintain that and lost on the fourth day. It was an unfortunate loss. The first test, they should have won that. Rain helped England out. So really the series is 2-1 going into the last, and you would have to argue that a 3-1 victory is on the cards for India. Could well have been 3-1 already. So, and very emphatic, very defiant. There's a book out that Buria Majunda has called, it's called Domination. I'm just trying to remember the full name of it. I think it's a great concept of a book. I'll just have a look. What's going on here? I've sent something to someone and they simply haven't. Oh God! Well, this person's asked me to send a video on these videos that doesn't. I don't know what's going on. I'll have a look here. All right. Sanket Gopal. Kohli always gets criticised when India loses, but people must give him credit when it's due. I agree. His bowling changes, field placement, keeping the pressure on batsmen, feeling energy in the crowd. He was great. Any COVID tension in the Indian camp going forward? Well, it won't matter too much because we'll just keep Shastri and the players separate. They won't lose out. They can be still Zoom or contacted by phone. It doesn't necessarily play out any real problem, I don't think. All right, Shastri, yes, that's correct. They are tested positive, but Norman, what do you think will there be a tough Ashes series between Australia and England? Well, Australia was so underdone in that. Australia are extremely underdone in the Test series. Extremely underdone. They will not have had a Test match before they play against Afghanistan, and most of the side won't be available because they'll be in the IPL and the World Cup. So the Australian preparation for the Ashes series will be very much underdone, and it's going to be put Australia on the back foot. I'm hoping Usman Khawaja and Curtis Patterson get a go because they will be there domestically, hopefully scoring runs with just Jason Sangha and Pekowski as well. They're the players with Labuschagne who will be important to the Australian batting lineup. As far as the bowling lineup is concerned with Australia, the reliance on Hazelwood, Stark, Cummins, and for that matter, Lyon is enormous. With James Pattinson and Michael Nisa and very few others there to support those bowlers, there's going to be a lot of pressure on those bowlers. Australia's going to be up against it, I would argue, and especially at the batting form. As far as England is concerned, they've had a lot of cricket this year, especially Test cricket, and they haven't performed that badly. Root obviously has been incredible, the leading run scorer by a country mile. The issue will be who will bat with him. I would argue that Zach Crawley will come back into the squad with James Vince, and David Malan will also show his wares when he comes down. Rory Byrne, I think, is very good too. Sibley, I don't think so. Hamid looks scratchy, but looks like he may be given the nod. Then you've got Ollie Pope in that squad. Dan Lyles I've got no time for, but Ollie Pope I do. Relatively, he's still a way to go. And obviously Bairstow and Butler, or if Butler travels. Ben Stokes is the major name, the ambition that's out of that squad. Is he going to play or is he going to play with it? We don't know at this stage. It doesn't look good. And Jofra Archer will be very unlikely to ever come back at all, let alone be ready for this series. Has the Indian T20 squad been announced? Can someone tell me? Because I haven't been following it and I haven't actually seen any evidence of any debrief. Is the T20 squad? The T20 squad, I don't think there's been any announcement, is there? The ICC would have had it out. Now, we're talking about giving Sky a chance. Well, I don't know. Agarwal and Fahari deserve the first chances, and Ishwaran also. The announcement's next week, I reckon, Cinch. I think it was today. I think it's actually today. I'm pretty sure it's today. Sri Lanka 8 for 170 at the moment against South Africa. I'm finding it hard to get too motivated about those matches, especially if they're ODIs. Why is Sri Lanka and South Africa playing an ODI so close to a T20 World Cup? That's beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. Oh, there's pressure on Australia all the time, but Australia's got some implosions going on with their coach. Justin Langer's been deplorable as far as the players are concerned. There's a bit of a player revolt, as we know. Langer's tenure will end in May, if not earlier. Tim Payne, albeit, has done an admirable job. He will probably be replaced at some stage too, and it won't be by Steve Smith by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, Paranjakes took 4 weeks and they had an economy rate. Listen to it. Really, Bumrah, Jadeja, Thakur, or Sharmi not this test match, but Yadav were fantastic in this test. Siraj was a bit below par, but he was so good in the second test where he took 8 wickets, don't forget. And Bumrah was 9 in the first. The third, they were all a bit scratchy, but quite frankly, the series has been brilliant for all of those bowls I've just mentioned. Bumrah's 9 and the wickets he took in this test. Siraj is 8 in the second. Yadav in the 5 or 6 he took this test match. Ishan Sharma wasn't too bad, but obviously not up to it. Sharmi bowled very well. Jadeja's been admirable. He hasn't been overwhelming, but he's been admirable. He's batting, certainly scored 50 early on. He's been there as a left-hander to break it up. That's why they put him in there. Bold decisions by Kohli with Shastri's help. Bold, but they're 2-1 up. They've won this test series so far by 2-1 out of 4 test matches with 1 draw without Ashwin. You would never have predicted that before the series started. And I still had doubts leading up to this test why he wasn't there. But, you know, my Australian 11 versus India, well, look, that's too early to say near hard to me, but you're going to see Warner, Smith, and Finch with Glenn Maxwell and Sean Martin, not Sean Martin, Mitchell Masters in there. I'd like to see Moses on Reeks, but he probably won't be. You'll probably see, I've forgotten his name now, the Italian stallion, as you might want to call him, the middle order batsman for I've got the name of it. But the bowlers will be a mixture of Zampa and probably Ashnagar. You might see Stark in there. Hazelwood, I'm not sure about. Cummins, definitely. That's basically my team. Keeper, well, the keeper, Josh Inglis, is getting a bit of a nod, but I hope it's not Matthew Wade. I don't think much of him, to be honest. Which front lines are England going to select for the Ashes? Are they going to settle on Moeen? No, I don't think Moeen will go alone. Jack Leach will definitely go. Dom Best probably not, but Moeen will still be there. You hear much Josh Inglis will get a chance because Matthew Wade's just not quality anymore. He's not there or really was, but a big mistake leaving him. Alex Carey's been stuffed around by Matthew Wade's jockeying. Yeah, he bowled well on Yadav. He took his opportunity big time. He's probably gone ahead of Ishan Sharma now, and that's why Sharma's going to struggle to get back into the side. England are performing well. They Joe Root was back. They probably over reliance on Joe Root and over reliance on James Anderson. How are you, Baram?
I'm fine, Norman. How about you?
Good. Have you been listening to what I've been saying so far?
Yeah. I'm following you, so I thought maybe to help you out and join you for some time.
That's all right. So what do you think of what I've been saying?
Well, first you spoke about the wonderful performance of India and then Kohli's captaincy. So undoubtedly, as a captain, Kohli is really good for India. And you can see that many other teams also want to emulate him, especially like repeatedly you see the English commentators or Root himself talking about that how aggressive they want to be. Though we are hearing this from long time, right? From last, 2 years, we are hearing this comment from Root that he wants to be aggressive, and I hope he becomes that he wants to be. But anyway, it's an indirect emulation to what Kohli is, and given the current status of how cricket is played in the world, I think this is a type of captaincy that is required because Kohli really knows how to get a momentum during the game. And this is I'm talking about momentum during the game and get positive vibes not only from his players but also he arouses the crowd. If you see that, I don't see any other captain or players from other teams arouse the crowd, and Kohli gets that kind of support from the crowd, and it makes a big difference.
Well, see, Indian supporters, I'm being critical for a good reason. I'm not being critical about any supporters, but they've got to respect a man that he may give this impression of being arrogant. But what he actually is he's not arrogant. He's overly passionate. He's got an enormous desire to win. And when he goes berserk, that's passion. That's not something of a I'm so good. It's not like that. In fact, Root's doing the same. Root's getting all excited as well. It's passion. It's desire. It's not arrogance. Again and again, Kohli, when I've come across him in press conferences, near buses, getting on and off buses, his attitude is one of excellence. He is there signing autographs. He is there giving people attention, acknowledging people. That's not arrogance at all. It is not arrogance. I'd even argue that, look, Sachin Tendulkar, you would never say Tendulkar was arrogant, but he became very aloof because of his status. He had to be distant from people on occasions, which was a bit sad. Kohli's not like that. Kohli embraces people around him, and he's always talkative, and he's very genuine, and he's very respectful, and he reveres Test cricket. The man is just overly excitable and tries too hard, probably. But his fitness is second to none. Incredible discipline. Virat Kohli. Well, I've seen, even though he didn't captain the match where Rahane captained at the Gabba, you don't think Kohli's presence was evident? It was extremely evident. He would have been there on the phone, on Zoom, whatever. He would have been there a lot. He would have he would have been in their mind the whole time. So,
But Rahane's captaincy and Kohli's captaincy are at drastic opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes. And that's why Rahane's been kept for so long, because he's a great vice captain to Kohli. There's no doubt. And although Rohit Sharma is an incredible player too, what I'm most impressed, Baram, about from the Indian players, they aren't just sitting on their laurels saying, "Oh, I'm a great player. I don't need to do anything." They keep improving themselves. Rohit Sharma has not been given the credit that he deserves for his Test batting ability, and finally, he's showing his true form. And he scored an international century, and I reckon he's broken through a major barrier and will now just reach another level. And that's evident in the way he plays. So Rohit Sharma is, to me, improving all the time. Even the way Ishant Sharma's prolonged his career. Bumrah in the same, and certainly Kohli. They've all morphed and improved themselves greatly. Rahul's another. Pujara, he's just limited in his skill base, but very hard ticker. So
no. Currently, if you ask me, if you're talking about batsmen in the Fab Four, I would actually put Rohit Sharma than Virat Kohli. If you're talking about batsmen and the current 1 year or 2 year form that we are talking about, from India side, I would actually put Rohit Sharma into it. And I think in terms of scoring after Kane Williamson, after Root, I think next is Rohit Sharma. Kane Williamson has a different kind of an impact on his team. That's why he is also well rated. But if you're talking about in score, and especially if you see all these Fab Four that we talk about, keep in mind, Norman, we talk about Kohli, we talk about Root, we talk about Kane Williamson, then even if you take Babar Azam, if you notice all of these players, the Fab Four come at number 4. They come at number 4 at batting lineup. The next best guy, Rohit Sharma, is the guy who opens. And opening in Test cricket is not an easy job. Let me tell you, it's the most difficult when you are facing. Let it be anywhere in the world. You will be facing the toughest conditions. The ball being new, the pitch being fresh. So opening the batting and still able to score that amount of runs is really commendable.
Look, I'm not taking away from Rohit Sharma's performance, but this Fab Four is really a combination of best batter and captain. There's an element of that going on. I don't think it's deliberate, but it is. Although Steve Smith is
All of
not
them are
captain.
surprisingly even captains also.
No, okay. Let's forget about captains. But Joe Root, Williamson, Kohli, and Smith have been their leading run scorers of their countries, and also internationally in the comparison. Rohit Sharma certainly is, but he needs to continue that for a bit longer before he starts. This last 12 months, he's definitely up there. Okay? Definitely. Kohli hasn't been as high. You're right. Root's been by far number one. Williamson's probably second. Smith, we can't even really include Smith because he's only played at the Gabba. That's it. He's not been seen since.
And this year, actually, in this year's thing, if you ask me, somebody saying that even forget Smith, I would say even Virat Kohli in being in the Fab Four. If you're talking about 2021, I would disagree. You talk on a year-on-year basis, not on past laurels. On year-on-year basis, this year I would definitely not include Kohli and Smith in the Fab Four.
Yeah, okay. I get your
again,
point.
you have to give credit to Rohit Sharma because of his batting position.
Oh, no doubt. No, I'm not doubting that at all. Please, don't get me wrong. But it's hard to work out the criteria for a Fab Four anyway. But Kohli hasn't had his best year, but overall he's still. We have to go. We can't go year by year. I think we have to go. We have to take it overall a little bit. We have to go over a longer span of time. But Rohit Sharma is certainly. He has proven this year that he's the most prolific Indian run scorer, the most difficult position of opener in English conditions where it's overcast. Amazing. Absolutely and utterly amazing. Fantastic performance. Where does the Indian team rank in comparison to the all-time greats previously? See, it's a little bit earlier, Nick Pascaron, because I was talking about West Indies of 80s or 70s, in Australia and even England at one stage. Those teams were dominant for 10 years.
West Indies was almost 15 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but Kohli's team, albeit doing very, very well, is probably at about the quarter to halfway stage of proving themselves. That means if they continue this on the next 4 or 5 years, then we can start comparing. And I'm expecting they will. It's going to be very, very, very hard to beat India the next 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years. For
me, I think biggest thing would be either if you're to get top fame, if India can now win a series in New Zealand, or New Zealand can win a series in India. India going to South Africa and beating, I would because current South Africa team is not up to the mark.
Vijay says New Zealand be like, just ignore me, guys. I don't want to look idiot. Like, what are you talking about, Vijay? It's very confusing. It would have been a perfect tour for India had they won the World Test Championship final. Yes, but let's not forget that they didn't prepare well enough for that. Okay? And they were very, very, very close. They can make amends for that very, very quickly by the way they play in India against New Zealand. If they smack New Zealand, New Zealand cannot be claimed to be the best team. India have beaten Australia in Australia. New Zealand haven't done that. New Zealand did beat England, yes, but not over a 5-test duration. So they're on par. The fact is, a performance against New Zealand and India, we'll see India number one for sure.
But that also is a problem that New Zealand nowhere is playing a 4 or a 5 test match series. Everywhere it's a 2-test series. So, how do you even this is where somewhere ICC also needs to step in if you're talking about and to take New Zealand to the next level. I know there are some sponsorship issues and those things, but till a team does not play a 5-test series, how are you even rating it into the big thing?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you totally. It's just frustrating, but apparently statistically they're going to help things out a bit. They're going to.
Also, like the testing. Also, test, like if you are considering test to be a pinnacle, but if you see the unfortunate trend of test cricket is being played in the last 140, 150 years. And if you see, still we are talking about just 5 or 6 countries in the world, which is unfortunate.
Oh yeah. Matthew Sinnott says, what are my thoughts on Australia? Australia have handled this year horrifically. Not going to South Africa, which they should have went. Not putting their best sides over in Bangladesh and West Indies. I don't get that. But the best players still went to the IPL earlier this year. but the best players are still going to the IPL now. Where does that logic? It's money. Okay, so the problem with Justin Langer have been enormous. Australia's got some real issues. We're not seeing it because they're not playing any cricket. Well, sorry, we are. They got beat 4-1 by West Indies and 4-1 by Bangladesh. That's not good. I don't care where they were. Australia have a lot to answer for. Australia has a lot to do in very short time. Their IPL performances won't be relevant. The World Cup will, and they won't make they will not make the semi-finals. I mark my words right now. Australia will not make the semi-finals. I can't imagine it. But then a T20 tournament, anything can happen. I grant that. But the reality is Australia hasn't done well in any T20 World Cups at all. They're very ordinary. So,
and UAE, unfortunately, if you see, is a not good place for Australian players. And especially Maxwell. He had not hit a single six. Remember in the last IPL when it was played. And Maxwell is one of a very key player for Australia. You should remember that in T20.
So he's another player that's been okay. He hasn't performed perhaps, but you know what? He hasn't been handled well by Australia. He should be in the Test team. He should be in the one day in the T20 side. They should make him a prominent player and let him go because he will succeed.
I believe even Aaron Finch, his composure and everything can easily go into Test cricket. And this whole talk about he being a white ball player, not a red ball player, I feel is somewhat little too ridiculous. I believe you can be a Test player but not a white ball player, but saying that you can be a white ball player but not a Test player is like, take example of Pujara. Pujara is a Test player, but I don't think he's a white ball player. Like if you ask me, he is not.
But Liam Livingstone broke. Shane Warne broke the mold. Not Shane Warne. David Warner broke the mold. He was a short form format that went to Tests. Liam Livingstone will probably play in English.
Rohit Sharma is an example. Now you have David Malan is an example.
Yeah, but the way David Malan bats, he bats like a Test player in short form, though, to be honest with you. But, okay. I still have a strong support for Aaron Finch in Test cricket. He didn't perform well in the short amount of time he was there, but they should have stuck with him because he's quality. He really is. And he's a great captain. He should be Australia's next captain in the Test arena. We'll see about that because if they put Steve Smith in, they're going backwards because he had a stint where he was good. That Sandpaper Gate stuffed it. You can't put him back in. That's not moving forward.
Captaincy is also something which the whole team should accept whole and soul. I don't think if Steve Smith comes, I think the whole team will accept it. The players also need someone to look up to, and Steve Smith right now is not a guy that someone would want to look up to.
Steve Smith has blown it by Sandpaper Gate. He let Warner run amok. He was in charge. He stuffed it, and he didn't handle it well after either. And for him to expect to be back there again, Steve Smith should just stick to his batting now because he's a great batsman. Take the opportunity now to bat and bat well, and let someone else captain. That's my thoughts. All right, let's not talk about Australia anymore. That gets me upset. The big show, man. Okay, yeah. All right.
Adakik, I don't know if you saw this. I think last week or very recently, Sunil Narayan bowled a maiden super over. Get this, a maiden super over in the CPL, and the batsman other side was Nicholas Puran. A maiden super over.
That's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible.
Nicholas Puran being, and you should see, like, amazing he bowled it. Like, it was not as if but it was really amazing. A maiden super over.
Incredible. Just for a moment, Baram, we've got a number of people that are viewing here. If any of you have joined for the first time or one of the few times, don't just join for a while and go. Please subscribe and get notified of next time I have a session because I like your loyalty. I don't want you just to be here for a short time, and send me feedback on what you would like. I'm going to do more street talks, but of course COVID's caused problems. So those people online, hit the subscribe button. Please go there now, hit subscribe, and it goes subscribe to, and then you have the notification button, then come back and watch the video, please, because you're there in numbers, but I want you to start to hit the subscribe button as well. All right.
No, I would also like to add, Norman, I would like to also add in a broader show that, see, cricket is something that in India is like almost everybody relates to. It's a topic of very relation. And another side advantage, what I see from your show for many Indians in India is if they really want to learn English, the accent of how it's speaking. This is something, because this is a topic which they can relate to, and you have people like you with the Australian accent, you have Munchie, as well as Reg coming with different United Kingdom accent. So this is something.
Jim, of course, and Jim from America
And
as well.
Jim was an American accent. So the many Indians who since this being a topic related and getting to, can actually improve their English speaking and understanding skills, which is something very important. So I would tell all the viewers watching here, like they can spread this and to their friends and who are really looking. This is a really great show or a great platform to also like take both advantage, improve your cricket knowledge, cricket skills, as well as your English speaking and understanding skills.
And the reality is, I speak German, I speak Brazilian Portuguese, I speak Sinhalese, the language of Sri Lanka. I speak all the languages too, and I do have a teaching of languages background. I was a language services manager for the Olympics. Ask me to slow down, speed up, reply, reiterate, comment differently. You ask me, I'll do. Okay? And more importantly now, we learnt, look, I never learnt the word Chinese cut before. I learnt French cut. Interesting for me. I thought I knew my cricket, but I heard that with a bit of surprise. So, but do share, but hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you 1 single cent. And when we start to travel around the world, I'll go to India a lot. You know that. UAE, England, and South Africa, and wherever I want to go. And I'll be there, and we can meet with each other, have conversations, be very community driven. I want it to be a community. All right. Thanks for that words, Baram. I appreciate that. Nanda Kishore Kurapal. Hi, how are you? Nice to hear from you. Rohit Sharma Virat should not go to the T20 World Cup. Why is that, Test on it? Because they need a rest? Interesting accent is pronounced accent. You're right. Okay. Oh, hello. What's Brian saying? Can you read that? Is it rude?
It's not. Yeah, it's a rude comment, but not to read. But
okay,
anyway,
right.
it's not. What I said is something many people would definitely relate to.
Yeah.
From India.
Matthew said, what are your thoughts on Payne, to be honest? I think he has to go. Matthew, I think he's probably going to go, but they're going to be a little bit stubborn with Langer still there. They're going to leave Payne in for this series. And in all fairness, there's such little time to go. You couldn't really bring a new captain in early enough now. So Tim Payne will stay there. But I'll tell you what, Warner has to pull his head in a bit. We'll see how he goes with the IPL. Did you see Michael Vaughan had those egg on his eyes? That was funny. That was funny.
And you saw my comment on that. I said that was a waste of 2 eggs.
Oh, Michael Vaughan, he's pretty harmless.
See, Anuj is agreeing with me. So,
what? Where is it?
Anuj Ingle.
Oh yeah, Ingle. I agree. Good on you, Anuj. Arjun Malik, there are some dumb people in chat to spoil the vibe. Don't worry about it, Arjun. Don't give people.
Right now, Norman, you have opened, so like anybody can comment, right? Or it's only
today I have. Yeah.
Okay.
To me, people are, I don't mind some dumb comments because hopefully they learn.
Yeah, too. Correct. And we also come to know how dumb some people are.
But I think it's more important that people need to be, when they're making silly comments, just ignore them. Yeah, Himanshu Chaudhary, England has announced their squad. I'll read it out to you guys. There's not a great deal of difference. It's only Butler has returned. I think, and Leach has returned. So they're the only true changes. Let me have a look. I'm very fortunate I get the email sent to me straight away. So, okay, the squad is Root's still there. Ali's still there, which means he'll probably be vice-captain. Anderson, Bairstow, Burns, Butler. Sam Curran's still there. Hamid, Lawrence shouldn't be there. Jack Leach has been included. Milan, Overton, Pope, Robinson, Wokes, and Wood. So that's 16 players. they normally have 15. Butler's been included. If Butler's been included, you would think he would go straight back to being keeper and vice captain. They may then have Moeen Ali not as vice captain, and there's a chance that Jack Leach might be brought in. But I'm scratching my head at that because
it's becoming very complicated. Like, means will they drop Bestro then? And what about the bowling attack? One is, will they be playing like Robinson and Anderson? Anderson, okay, is its home ground. And now, given the situation that they need to draw the series, and India will also not take it lightly because they want to win the series. So this is still not a dead rubber. And again, we are talking about points in the WTC. I'm telling you, this WTC concept was a excellent thing that got by ICC.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have a final for Test cricket. We need a final. It's really, really good. You have to ask the question why we didn't have it years ago, really.
Yeah. But the final, still, I would believe they should make it at least a 2-match or a 3-match series. No, because having the whole game, whole competition as a series, and then having a final just as a one game, because I would believe it should be 3-match series. Because see, one team of the top 2 can have a bad, one session or one bad, and which may lose the one match, and then that's decided.
That's what they call a final. That's what they call a final. Things don't always go for you on the day. It's a matter of how you do your best. How are they going to fit in enough time to have 3 matches? How are they going to do that? That's where the problem starts, because that's another additional amount of games. But I personally think one's enough because I like the drama. Even with New Zealand beating, India, we're saying India didn't have enough preparation, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the luck of the situation. That fell in New Zealand's hands, and it gave New Zealand a chance, and they took it. And let's be honest, it's actually good for cricket that New Zealand did that, because it's going to make India even hungrier now. And I'm really looking forward to the Test series, a couple of tests in India between New Zealand and India. That's going to be real. India are going to want to smash New Zealand. They're going to want to pulverize them.
You might see a Ahmedabad repeat pitch, which is, I don't know where the 2 matches are going to be held, but
I don't care. I don't care. I don't really care. I don't mind. The way that Bangladesh beat Australia at home 4-1, good on them. Why not? Do you think Australia's going to produce spinning wickets when they get to Australia? No, they're going to have bouncy wickets. Australia's stuffed up. You know what? Australia against India, Australia's stuffed up. They let the Gabba be the last match. That was dumb. It was when the Gabba was least lethal. It was more lethal in November, December, as the first test. I don't know why. I cannot explain to you why, other than maybe COVID, why they didn't play that test first up. That was madness. That's your best test for Australia to win first test match, and they blew it. So that's Australia's stupidity. I hope India have a spinning track and New Zealand get bundled out for 50. I'd be happy, because psychologically, India were really dented by that World Test Championship. It actually was good because it made them rethink their side. They looked at Ashwin and Jadeja together, which is normally a first selection, and they thought better of it. And look. Okay, no matter what we talk, you and I agreed that Ashwin should have been in this game, correct? The 4th test. But you know what? I'm now looking at it going, wasn't a bad choice.
No, I think WTC really got the Indian team or Virat Kohli and the management to see that there's no such concept of your best test team. It depends on that day and that morning, that match condition just before the match starts. It really depends on, because in WTC they had announced the team 2 days well in back. That also I found it very weird. Why did they have to announce it so early? So let's see. So one question for Bhajan, and they're asking, will Rane be? Many questions like, will Rane be dropped? I don't think Rane will be dropped.
I'll answer them all in one go. Absolutely not. And especially if Pujara and Rohit Sharma are injured, if they both can't play, they're not going to drop Rahane as well. No, that's too much change. Way too much change. In fact, that worries me. I don't know whether Rohit Sharma is as bad. I don't think he is. Pujara's one I think is more critical, but we're not hearing anything this day. So, but Agarwal and Vihari will be chomping at the bit to play, like Shardul Thakur was. He was chomping at the bit, or for that matter, you know,
What I'm trying to say in the batsman side, if there are 5 really good players who can actually be in the team without any doubt. But problem is that cricket team is of 11 players. One is Vihari, one is Agarwal, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw. 4, sorry. But these 4, like any time, can be in the team for India. And also Surya Kumar. Sorry, we forgot Surya Kumar Yadav.
I believe Gill's injured, and I'm not sure, but has he travelled to UAE with his team? Who's he play for? KKR, doesn't he? KKR.
Yeah. In the middle, there was one guy who left for India. Also, he was sent back. I don't know. Was it Shubman Gill or was it somebody else?
Shubman Gill was sent home, but he stayed home. Prithvi Shaw and Sky came to join the selection group, and Krishna was added to the bowling lineup as well. So, because this Test match matters now, I mean, if I'm not sure this Patowdy Trophy, if England were to win the last match and it was 2-2, do India retain it or do England? Huh?
No, it will stay with England.
Right. Well, then if that's the case, then India will be seeing this match as their final now.
No. See, in no way this last match is anywhere less for India. See, there are so many things on the line. One is getting the trophy, not keeping the trophy, getting the trophy from the hands of England. That is number 1. Number 2 is making sure means that not losing not drawing the series to win. And third is the points for the WTC. So there is a lot to play for. It's not means India can't take it lightly. That's for sure. But the main issue is everybody is saying there will be like 6 to 8 sessions will be washed out for sure. Right? Then I doubt there would be unless the pitch is really swinging or they make it a spinner friendly pitch. If there are talks about Jackley, and let's talk about the team now, Norman. Who do you think let's say that who do you say Rohit Sharma and Pujara will be fit to play? Who do you think the 11 for India will be, and who do you think the 11 for England would be? Your views?
At this early stage, if Rohit Sharma and Pujara are both fit, then they won't change any of they won't change the top 7. Okay. A question comes yet again about Ashwin and why I'm mentioning him. My first thoughts are Ashwin's not playing, but the fact that England have brought Jack Leach into the squad intrigues me. Are they telling us something or what? I don't know, but that inclusion's interesting. But Ashwin's the only one that would be a question. But I think Mohammad Shami will come into the match. Thakur's staying. He's not going anywhere. Shardul Thakur is going nowhere. He's in the side. Bumrah and Siraj and possibly who's the other bowler? Umar Yadav. Umar Yadav is going to stay. Umar Yadav is staying in. I'm pretty sure. Okay. If Bumrah is fit and wants to play, he'll stay in. Siraj, only for the sake of giving Shami his return to the team, may leave, but not because of only one performance. But I think they'll try to get Shami back into the team, if I'm being honest.
Shami adds a little on the batting also.
Yes. But see, Umar Yadav should stay in. Thakur both injected a lot of life. They both got root out, both of them. And that's pretty significant. Ishant Sharma's not coming back in. But if the batters are fit, the only change will be Shami coming in. I do not think it'll be Ashwin.
And let's say that they decide they want to get in Ashwin. Then who do you think Ashwin will from this 11? Who do you remove to place Ashwin? Jadeja?
Well, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to bring Ashwin in now, because if they've prevented using him in the last 2 Test matches, if not the last 3 Test matches, why would you suddenly bring him in now? It doesn't make sense.
Let's say hypothetical that the pitch is such that they realize
Ashwin would come in for Jadeja. The template that Kohli has produced, which is 5 bowlers, 3/4 as fast bowlers and 1 spinner, means to me that Virat Kohli is saying that it's Jadeja or Ashwin. So if they decide they want Ashwin in the side, Jadeja's the one to go, but that's going to be very hard to do. That's why I'm saying Ashwin won't come in if Jadeja's still there, and I think that won't happen. Otherwise, that doesn't explain anything which they've done before. Then, in my opinion, they're putting in Ashwin as a token performance, which is wrong. And Kohli's quite stubborn in a good way about his selections, and I think he made it very, very clear that Jadeja is in front of Ashwin. He's got too many fast bowlers to pick from. He's not, and Shardul Thakur and Umesh Yadav have made it even harder for Ashwin to play. You can't drop Thakur. You can't drop Shardul Thakur. My God.
Umesh Yadav's performance was really good. Previously,
they took key wickets. Really, on form, Siraj is the one that will be dropped. But that's not why Shami's going to come in. Not because Siraj is dropped. I don't think so. Because Siraj could have a great match next match. We don't know that, do we? And England, as I said, they're going to make surprisingly, they're going to make a few changes. I reckon they're only going to bring in Mark Wood for sure, probably for Overton.
In place of Overton.
James Anderson's not going anywhere because he doesn't want to. He probably should be rested, but he won't be. Because Sakib Mahmood's got a side that's straight anyway. So Wood's the only real change they'll make. And Butler coming back, okay, which will mean Pope and Overton go. And they're bringing Jack Leach into the squad. It intrigues me because they're hinting at it. They're almost trying to push India to put Ashwin in. It's a bizarre. It's too late for Leach and it's too late for Ashwin because we're going to a pitch which is a fast.
England needs to stir it up also, so that can be. They can't go with the same concept because they know if flat pitch, definitely India will. Only if it's something what happened in Headingley where the conditions in the first and India bats first and they're able to bowl them out cheaply. Otherwise, then they need to stir it up. Either they make it.
I think it's bad. It's a bad move from England. It's a bad move for England to just keep changing their side. It's a bad move. I think it's a really bad move because they lost the match, but they played well in the test though. They lost the match, but they played well. They only imploded on the last day. Why? Because India bowled well. England were none for 100, for God's sake. They should have won. They should have won. Or gone very close. Or at least drawn. They should have either won or gone close to drawing based on their performance. They won't change too many. Butler's coming back in, I'm pretty sure. Butler will be back in.
Let me tell you, Norman, if I was an English fan, I would be really disappointed with the team performance. It's not as if they're giving their 100 or losing. You see, if a team puts in its complete effort and loses, it's something as a fan you don't get disappointed. But if you see this, England's both losses, the one in Lords also and one here also, could have been easily avoided. Should have been very easily avoided. Forget it. And as a fan, it's very disappointing that basically what it says that they easily crumble under pressure and can't handle pressure.
Well, they've crumbled both in the second and the fourth test, haven't they?
Yeah.
But India crumbled in the third test.
In the first, you see, that's a difference. See, in the case of India, that was not a pressure that crumbled in. Yes, in the second innings, if you say on the fourth day morning, they did collapse. But those two collapses were very different. The first collapse was really conditions being such, and maybe I would say the batting not being up to the mark. It was a different scenario. The second collapse that happened that was. But still, there are questions on Indian batting. Let me tell you, Norman, it's not that it's out of the grey.
There's two. You can't change this like this.
Yeah, I know that is stubbornness of Kohli. Like one angle, one way he says that he should play on conditions and that, but this is giving too much opportunity. See, Rane for sure someday will score a century. Pujara will also score, but how much time are we giving them to? There should be a limit to that. There should be a reasonable amount of time for that also. Considering that see, this is not the England team where they don't have somebody to replace. Here you have so many people in the backtrack which you can't afford as a.
They won't be doing anything this late in the series. I can assure you, it's not going to happen in this series.
No, it's not. Definitely not. I would see the same team. Only I don't know. Somehow maybe being they might get Ashwin in, might, but depends on the pitch. if they see that this pitch is made such that it makes sense, because at least what the Indian team has realized that you pick players based on the situation, not what they did in the WTC.
Yeah, look, the worst thing that can happen for India is to not have Pujara and Rohit Sharma in this last test, because they have become very. Don't forget, Sharma and Pujara, 153 run partnership. Okay, magnificent, very significant partnership. So I don't know. I'm concerned. I mean, look,
Rohit Sharma is definitely required because his position that he plays. If India don't get a good start, I'm telling you, it will be a repeat of Headingley. So having Rohit Sharma is very important.
But I can't see there being any problem with Agarwal's chopping. Agarwal's been waiting. Agarwal's been waiting the whole bloody series, the poor bugger, after being hit in the head by bloody Siraj. Jesus. We're talking about Ashwin and how
Siraj they are strategizing with Siraj. Yeah, yesterday also, there are many people who are talking that Siraj purposely dropped the catch because they did not want Hasib Hamid to get out, and Hasib Hamid in turn caused David Malan to get run out, and then
absolute rubbish. but I mean, Siraj. We could start a conspiracy theory. So KL Rahul said to Siraj, "Get rid of Agarwal."
Yeah. So anything is conspiracy theories are really good to, and anything is possible.
Well, I mean, how close of friends are Rahul and Siraj is my question. But no, I don't think that's happening.
No, but I'm saying yesterday match, the way Siraj acted was also very beautiful. That because you cannot purposely drop a catch, right? It's not allowed.
Okay. Pawan Kumar says, for Fox Cricket tweet about Virat Kohli aggression, it's just pathetic. They called the Kohli those classes. That shows the world racist mentality was. Look, I have to. Fox Cricket's a bit funny with that, a bit strange.
I did not see this tweet. Are you aware? Can you? I'm not aware of this tweet.
Well, it's just generally every time Kohli reacts like that or is upset, it's put all over the Australian media. They love it. Okay. They love it. So it's not very good. I'm going to maintain my thoughts that Kohli's the best captain that he has ever had. And even though Dhoni was fantastic, especially in the short format, and had won major championships, yes. But Kohli's overall record, and he's really created this form of dominance over the last 3 or 4 years that India are having. Look at we can't forget, they beat Australia at home. They're going to beat England at home. They beat England at their home. Who's going to beat them? They're going to smack New Zealand at home. They're going to absolutely pulverise them. And then they go to South Africa, which has been difficult for them, but South Africa are nowhere near the team they've been in the past and will probably be smacked. Really will be. And Ashwin will be very useful there.
Correct. New Zealand are also a smart team, so yeah, but they don't have that. I don't think their batsmen are geared up for that kind of spin, and they have those kind of spinners also on the other end.
No. Oh, look, this is the renaissance of Indian sport is total domination. I think there's a term that's been coming out now. They're looking to dominate, and they're doing it. Kohli's attitude is to dominate, and he wants to dominate every innings, every session, every over. He's given his. How did Bumrah come on for that session? Bumrah said, "Let me at them." He wanted that ball. He bowled 2 of the best Yorkers. He made Pope and Bairstow look silly. They looked like they were facing a brand new ball.
In fact, the story is that Bumrah wanted to come before the lunch break, but Kohli actually told him, "No, look, the ball is getting older. I want you to be fresh. You take a rest. We can see that the ball is starting to do something. So right now is not the right time for you to come. So you get your strength up," and that's when he came with that spell.
So if Fox Cricket have called Kohli's trumpet celebration classless, what do they say Dave Warner is? Has he got class? He's got no class. He's the biggest numbskull, and he acts like a flip. The way he carried on against South Africa and with Sandpaper, who are we to talk about Kohli? And also Roots learned from that, and he's going like that too. I think it's fantastic. Good on them. Good on them. The pressure's enormous on these bastards, buggers. They deserve everything they get. Really. Kohli is fantastic. Australia haven't got anyone. They've got Matthew Wade, who doesn't shut up and doesn't do any good at all. He's annoying as hell, not to the other side, but to his own side.
Yeah, you make a nice impression of Matthew Wade also. I heard when you made that comment during the Bangladesh, during the show you were imitating him, and that was really funny. Maybe you can do that again.
Trust me, Matthew Wade's an absolute. He creates poison in the team. He has pushed Alex Carey out of the way, who's a really nice bloke, and now Josh Inglis has, thank God's, come in. But get rid of Matthew Wade now. Get rid of Matthew Wade now. Do not let Warner and Smith have any captaincy roles in Australia. Get someone who's got some substance. I think the biggest move. The one thing I would do is I'd bring Glenn Maxwell back into the Australian side. I really would.
The test team.
Yes. Let him go. Let him go. Let him be what he. Let him express himself.
Usman Khwaja, Maxwell. I think these people need to be in the team.
Yeah. What's so we've already got a Zoom meeting planned for Joe Root tomorrow on the 5th Test preview. It's happening 11:15, which is what 8 tomorrow at 8:15. It'll be released. Doing it pretty early, actually.
This is for what, the next match? But this next match is very close. This starting on Thursday.
God.
So it's to just, and I think that they take one day just to travel, if I'm not wrong. It's a long travel also, right?
It's a fair travel. They're going to go by bus. It'll be a pretty long trip. Yeah. I mean, the reality is that it's the 7th. Tomorrow's the 8th. They start the 9th. They start the next day.
Correct.
And then they go straight into the IPL. They go straight into the World Cup. Oh, my God. What a program. And then Australia plays Afghanistan. And I'm afraid half the Australian side won't be available because they'll be quarantining. And you'll have...
Yeah, there are so many series. Actually, we need to make a calendar to see which series happening where. I believe Australia is also playing Pakistan. New Zealand is also playing Pakistan. Then I don't know when these things are happening.
I'm going to make this. I'm going to comment on this. Abhishek Sharma thinks, "Hey Norman, what have you against Smith and Warner? You really seem to dislike them. What they did with Sandpapergate has ruined Australian cricket for years. That's why I'm disappointed. And the hypocrisy of the way they carried on then, and these fake tears and this fake crying really annoyed me. Okay, that's one thing. Then Warner at Sunrisers Hyderabad doesn't bother to announce 4 players from India who debuted in that match, and then kept on bagging the coach and the God knows who. And it was actually sacked by Trevor Bayliss, not just from the team, but from the captaincy. So that's why I'm disappointed with those guys. I'm disappointed because I'm embarrassed by them. I don't have anything against them. They're both...
And Smith incident of indirectly saying he wants to be a captain.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell's Smith doing? Going on the paper, bringing in a reporter to talk, and then bringing kids in and having all the photographs, and the coach and captain go, "What the? Huh?" It's embarrassing. It's disgraceful. They both got enormous. Both of them have got enormous amounts of money. Enormous. They're worth tens of millions of dollars now. They're financially secure, yet they're carrying on like spoiled kids.
Yeah, it's like Australian cricket, like a soap opera happening, you know. But
I'm not begrudging them of getting the money. Great, they deserve it. They've played well. They've been great batsmen for Australia. But how about they go back to the basics of just being good players and not bother with all the noise that goes on? And even some of the social media that I'm seeing from Dave Warner, albeit he's on the charm offensive, is what I call it. He's trying to make him look very family-like with 3 girls. It's great. It is a great story. But don't overbleed it. Don't bleed it to death. And there's a big cover page in the Sunday paper here about how good a person he is. He knows he has to win people over now because he's bastardised his career because of stupidity on 2 occasions.
Brian has a nice comment now. Langer will be most probably finishing. Yeah. Overall, what do you feel like? How does Australia view as the Langer's complete coaching, not just recent, but since the time he came till now?
Look, he's a great person. We all admire his cricket. He was a great test player, a great team player, generally a good motivator. He's a very good guy, but he's just gone a bit too hard in his Australian coaching. He's been a bit too intense. I had an experience with him on a number of occasions. Some have been very good, but in the test series against India over the summer, he was on edge every day. I'd be doing a live video in front of the SCG of the players getting onto the bus. I was nowhere near them. I was 50 metres away from them. But he stood there in absolute disgust at me and was very angry. And I said, what is your problem? What is wrong? He was very on edge. And I think that on edge nature has spilt over to the players, and the players can't handle it. Some might. I mean, Tim Payne and a few are on his side, but a lot of them are not. He's probably gone too hard. He's too passionate, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But, I mean, Darren Lehmann was Mr. Cool. He'd go and have a cigarette and he'd enjoy himself with the guys. I think the way that Langer is far too disciplined, and it becomes very grinding, tiring, especially in a situation when you're playing in a bubble, a bio bubble. When you're really on top of the players and saying, get up early, do this, do that, it starts to wear you down. It doesn't help.
Correct. But one question, General, who does Australia means who do you rate as your best coach till now? Like
right now.
Till now, like in the last, let's say 20, 25 years.
A lot of the best Australian coaches have not coached Australia. Like Trevor Bayliss, for example, has coached England and Sri Lanka. He is a tremendous.
For Australia, I'm saying for Australia.
No, but I'm just telling you though, Trevor Bayliss should have been coach. Jason Gillespie should have been coach for Australia. Buchanan was very good mentally, not necessarily physically. Lehmann was pretty good, but he was too chummy with the players. Trying to think now. The guy from South Africa, Mickey Arthur, he didn't last long. He's good. He's done well elsewhere, but not in Australia. Oh, look, really, you'd have to go back even further to periods. Bobby Simpson was a great coach, fabulous coach. John Buchanan, in part, was a very good coach. He had a lot of success with Australia, by the way. Langer looks on paper like he would be a good coach, but no. Lehmann's okay. They haven't really had an outstanding coach. Trevor Bayliss, to me, should have been an Australian coach by now, and Jason Gillespie should have been. Andrew McDonald's the assistant coach. He seems to have a good rapport with the players. Abhishek Sharma says, Marcel Abhishek is captain for Zero. I keep talking about Marcel Abhishek. He certainly has batted very well. I don't deny that. But he's never captain at any level of cricket. Junior, senior, grade, state, and he's not been vice captain either. So how do you become captain for the very first time in your life for your country? That's not the credentials I would like to see at all. Does that make sense? I'm not saying he's not a good player. No, I'm talking about he has had zero experience as a captain. So why would you want that person to be the captain of your country? Pat Cummins is a very nice bloke. He leads by example, yet he probably shouldn't be captain either. Jason Sangha for the under-19s was fantastic. They almost beat India. India had Prithvi Shaw and Gill on that side, by the way. So a lot of other players that we would know. And Jason Sangha handled himself very, very well. He's been a captain all his life as well for the under-19. He's been captain for his grade side, Graham Petersham. He's still very young. I think he, to me, has the class of a captain, to be honest. That's my thoughts. Curtis Patterson is another one. He's been very good. Usman Khawaja has captained Queensland to a Sheffield Shield final earlier this year. There you go. There's your three captains. Usman Khawaja, who should be in the side. Curtis Patterson, who should be back on the side. Or Jason Sangha for the future. There are your three captains.
There was a guy who injured his shoulder also, right? What was his name?
Bukowski.
Yeah, Pukowski. What about him?
He wasn't. He played in the same team as Jason Sangha, and he wasn't in the captaincy group. He also has some mental issues.
As a player to come back, will he come back in the team?
Oh no, he should be in the side. Yes. He should be in the side. Yes, but Marcus Harris, David Gravely talks about him highly because he watched him in county cricket in England, where he scored big centuries throughout the recent summer. He seems to be one that needs to be given. He's also in the squad too. So yeah, they're pretty good.
Interesting.
But if Steve
another thing also, what I don't like, I don't like is this England. It means right now this series, the players or the comment, or you get the general vibe, or even the coach, like they are more concentrating towards the Ashes than this series. See, I'm in no way saying that in terms of degrading India or something like that. But they should concentrate on this series and look at it, not like as if this is nothing and Ashes is the which I they should look at what is there up front in their plate and how to manage that. Then
I agree totally. I find
that not a good attitude over there. That's also a mistake that they are doing.
Yeah, I don't know whether England. I mean, Chris Silverwood's a pretty good coach. Well, I'm gathering he's a pretty good coach. He's actually an excellent coach. I mean, to me, England get it right with coaches. I tell you, they've got it right. They're Trevor Bayliss. They've had also, what was his name again? Who was the guy back at the time? Fletcher. Duncan Fletcher was. You listen to Michael Vaughan talk about Duncan Fletcher. When Duncan Fletcher said he wasn't going to coach anymore, the team cried. The players cried. Correct. That's quite incredible, really. Can you read this one here? This is about brilliant thing is that this team never stop learning from its own mistakes.
Which is the main reason why India is one of the finest test side. Although Rane is out of form and I think he needs a break. He is already getting so much break.
The reality is it's a great comment. They're always learning. Virat Kohli is always learning. Rahul, learning. Sharma, learning. Umesh Yadav, they've been Siraj. They're all improving. Even Punt's learning to be more careful. It's a great side. It's a really, and that's because of Kohli. Kohli's saying you must strive to get better and improve and be on top, and he's doing it. And I argue Root is learning from that. Root, at the end of the day, Root started saying template a test or two back. That came from Kohli.
Yesterday, what was surprising, I don't know, in the Silverwood, yeah, right, the coach, his name is Silverwood, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he was asking that why was the ball swinging, reverse swinging for India, but not during England's time? And he says, I don't know. And that I found it very, means he purposely did not want to say, or I found it a very
to be honest with you, to be really honest with you, no one really has a clue what the ball's going to do because the ball can be good or bad. You can make your best judgment before the match, but some balls don't move, some conditions don't allow it, some do. I mean, the fifth day did not warrant any movement, but Bumrah didn't really so much move the ball alone, like reverse swing. He bowled a beautiful Yorker. Oh my God, those balls that got out Pope and Bairstow looked stupid, didn't they? They looked like they were amateurs.
Pope he missed a straight delivery. He got beaten out for pace. I don't think but the Bairstow delivery, there was reverse swing. It was a beautiful Yorker, yes, but it did swing normal. It did reverse swing inside. But what I think that the way they explained and everything, that him, Jadeja putting in the rough, they were making the one side of the ball very heavy and everything. So they really knew what to do with that ball. And how to legally get it scuffed, as I say.
Sumaya Ranjan said it looks like Archer's not only gone for the Ashes, he's gone permanently. I think he's not going to return, and he won't be the same bowler he's been.
I think he's in the jail. Jarvo has been put in jail recently.
Sorry?
Jarvo has been put in jail. He's physically jailed.
We're talking about Jofra Archer, not Jarvo. What are you talking?
I thought Puranja is, you're talking about that comment.
No, Jofra Archer.
Oh, okay.
Java. Okay. So 5th test weather is one of the questions there. As far as I'm aware, and what Munchie made very clear to me, the weather has certainly been a factor for this match. In September, storm season in the New York region, in the Atlantic coastline or wherever it is, coming across to England is notorious for large amount of rain and storms. So, especially in northern England, where the rain seems to come more, they're going to expect rainfall. They can't guarantee that, but it doesn't look very promising. There'll be a lot of rain going on, and it'll suit fast bowling. It won't suit spin, that's for sure. There.
Yeah, but then why are they talking of getting Jack Leach back in? That's really confusing.
It could be a very, very, very clever ploy to try and give India a suspicious feeling that the ground's going to take spin when it doesn't. They may be trying to mess with India because there's no logic to bring Leach in now. They should have brought Leach in for the last test match, as with Ashwin, but they haven't. I think it's because that just adds another player to the squad for one test. I think they're doing it. There's a tactic going on there. I really do. But if they play, well, it could be that they're thinking that Moeen Ali hasn't performed, and maybe they need to get with Butler and Leach both coming back in. That's the vice captain and the spinner equals Moeen Ali.
Correct. Maybe who knows? Jack, the idea of like the strategy of India putting Jadeja being a left-arm spinner, using the rough, having left-handers, and same case over here was. And actually, see, Ravindra Jadeja did actually take 2 wickets. He really troubled David Malan a lot. He got Moeen Ali out. Who are the 4 left-handers? Malan, Moeen Ali,
yeah,
Anderson, and who's the 4th?
I'm trying to think. Burns.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't include Anderson in that lot. He's the number 11 bat. That's almost not. But definitely Burns, and Malan being the early order batsman. Yes, Malan was very disappointing. Malan looked a bit mentally weak. He wasn't as dominant as I thought he would be. He didn't look.
That was genuinely what was, because Jadeja the ball was spinning like crazy in Norman. Like for the left-hander, batting was very difficult. The only thing he could put his leg out, and that's the only thing he could do. It was really difficult.
The more and more I think about it, the more I don't see Ashwin being picked for this 5th test.
Yeah.
I really don't see that happening at all. I actually think both sides will make minimal changes. Mark Wood will come in for sure. I think Sharma will come in. And if there's a forced batting change to Pujara or Sharma. Oh, and Butler, of course, as well. They're the main changes I see. Leach and Ashwin, unless we're not seeing the pitch yet, we don't know. Maybe someone said something, I don't know. But I don't know whether those 2 will be included. Now, what's the point? England didn't play well. India won with their fast bowlers. I mean, Jadeja did play well. Jadeja played well. He didn't bat brilliantly, but he played well. His definitely his bowling was pretty good on the 2nd day, on the 5th day. The only thing that was really disappointing me from both sides was the run-out opportunities. Both were shocking.
Correct.
Especially, I mean, Hamid looks like he's a pretty ordinary fieldsman. I don't rate him much on his fielding, but
even his batting,
he looked awkward. He looked very awkward.
Very awkward. And
he's not as he looks like a school kid, a pretty good batter of a school kid age. Something about him, he looks like a school kid. I don't know why I'm saying that, but
there was also another controversy created that Isa Gua was, she made a video and she was complaining about Deepdas Gupta. He does, I think, the Hindi commentary there or something like that. I don't know what exactly his role is, but she was, and that's something which is spreading in the Indian media.
Well, she was on the ground relaxing. She was relaxing on the ground. What happened with Deepdas Gupta?
No, Deepdas Gupta was like talking. Isa Goa made a video, like just and she was commenting about Deepdas Gupta. So the Indian audience did not take that well.
Deepdas Gupta, he's been on my show, you know that. I've interviewed him a few times, and he's a great guy. He's a lovely bloke. I like him a lot. He can be he's quite sarcastic, I tell you. He can be very sarcastic. I gave him a question one time. I said, give me one word to describe something. He goes, Norman, I'm not going to give you that one word, because he wasn't prepared. It was really funny. Now, I liked Deepdas Gupta a lot. I've had in the summer season in Australia, he was on Sports Today almost every day with me, and he's a lovely bloke. And he was a great player too. He was a good kid. Akash Chopra was another one. I liked Akash Chopra. I'd spend most mornings with him during the Test series in Australia, going for a juice. What?
This comment by Puranjay is very good. Means getting Leach in is to maybe scuff the ball.
Which one?
If Root brings Leach in that team,
where?
Reverse swing from the. It's the most recent comment. The second most recent comment from Puranjay Sachdeva.
Okay. If Root brings Leach in, that means he wants reverse swing for the Pacers. It was not reverse swinging for the English players because they did not have the left arm spinner bowling left and right. Yeah, reverse swing has got nothing to do with the pitch, though.
No, but scuffing the ball. That's
all right. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, that's deviation. Yeah, maybe that's why Leach is going to be brought in. Maybe they see to exploit the rough patches like Jadeja did. Maybe that's the reason why they're bringing in Leach, perhaps. Because Moeen Ali was pretty well, you know.
But then that means if Root wins the toss, he will bat first.
Yeah. But hang on, I just don't know. Do they know something about the Old Trafford Manchester pitch that we don't know? Because it's been made very clear to me by a lot of learned English people who know the ground very well. It's a ground where rain occurs heavily. There's a lot more pace to the pace and bounce, and it's a bowler's wicket, is what they're saying.
But what I understood, like people before Munchie also was saying that if you need to get spin, one is Oval and the second is Manchester. So I don't know. These are very conflicting comments. And I think the most wickets for spin have been taken in, though they say Oval spins more, but the most wickets by spinners has been taken in Manchester.
Okay, well, we're going to see if that's the case. Well, again, Kohli's not going to bring Ashwin into the side unless Jadeja is replaced. It's pretty certain that he doesn't want to have two spinners in the side. He's made that pretty clear. So that's the issue that he has. And you'd have to argue if they're leading 2-1 in the series without Ashwin, there's little point in bringing him in for the last match alone. Not that I'm against Ashwin. I think he should have been in the last two tests. Don't get me wrong. It has shocked me somewhat, this circumstance. All right. How are you going? How are you feeling? Because I'm going to go longer, but you let me know when you want to go. Brian, now, thank you.
5 minutes and we'll take some questions and I'll...
Okay. Brian Narata says, thank you. This is lovely, Sir Brian. I enjoyed the discussion. Thank you, too. Anuj Ingle. Say something, Anuj Ingle. Brian now thinking, but just a minute ago he was swearing. Jeez, I want to meet this Anuj Ingle. He's a cheeky bugger. Yeah. He's cheeky. Very bit like you were, Baram. You were like that. You had some cheekiness to you, too.
Yeah, when you're commenting, you can be a little more free and do the cheekiness. so I'm very happy with. So that's why I said people can, and like also people. The only thing what I don't like is people spamming, putting the same comment multiple. That becomes very ridiculous. That's
the reason why they do it is obvious, because on some chat lines there are so many comments that they're never going to be found with just one. And they're doing it multiply because hopefully you'll see the 10th message. I get it. I understand it, but it's not good.
No, but some it's just spam. If you spam something bad, okay, you put a bad comment, but put it once. But putting it 100 times, that's not good.
Do you know that I'll give you why I'm a bit sympathetic to that is I shouldn't go with the full story. I'll tell you a bit of the story. On Facebook Live, right, there was a girl that I followed who had something like 50,000 Facebook friends, right? Too many. I couldn't be her friend, right? So I used to follow her. She used to travel the world. She was a makeup artist. Very interesting life. Would be at this place, that place, all over the world. And one day she was in Brisbane in Australia holding a koala, and I got all excited. I thought, oh, she's in Australia. So I messaged. You know how the messages go 100 miles per hour. Everybody's messages going really. I wrote, "Come to Sydney." That's it. Come to Sydney once, right? She didn't know me. I wasn't connected to her. She saw that and asked me that she actually got a hold of me. She went and checked me out, of course, then got a hold of me and said, I'm actually coming to Sydney tomorrow. Can you pick me up from the airport? I said, sure. So from such a random situation, I picked up this girl from the airport the next morning. How was that? That was the most bizarre.
She got a free ride.
No. So all I'm trying to say is sometimes these random messages may be a major breakthrough. Sai, I've already talked about this quite a bit. Virat Kohli is the best Indian captain ever. Although Kohli's very close to him. Kohli captained India for 60 games, Virat Kohli for 65. Kohli's won 38 matches at 58%, whereas Dhoni has won 27 at 45. Both very good, but Kohli is the 6th highest ranked captain. 7th is Dhoni. No one's near them. They're only the likes of Steve Waugh and Ponting and slightly Williamson are ahead of Kohli, who's a percentage of captain. He is the best captain India has had. Simple. And is halfway through a renaissance. If he keeps going this way over the next 3 or 4 years, he's going to make a huge stamp on the team. Okay, what's this called? Where is it? I just saw it. Read that one.
Right. Norman, maybe it's not Jadeja who is keeping Ashwin out. It's probably one of the 4 pacers, probably Shardul. And you know how he performed. 15 both innings and crucial wickets.
I think there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. Absolutely. There is some truth to that. Because they're all firing, aren't they? I mean, for God's sake.
If Ashwin's batting would have been as good as Jadeja, Ashwin would have been rated as a batsman as good as Jadeja for tests, I definitely feel Ashwin would have been played because his bowling definitely is better than Jadeja, especially even if I look at flat wickets.
Yeah, true. And it is amazing because Ashwin's batting performance with Vihari at the SCG when they drew the match was phenomenal. It was very, very good. So, you know,
and also he scored in Chennai when in India also he scored a century, which was also like very helpful in that game.
I think the way that Kohli explained that it was because of the left-hand nature of that was the key. More so in the batting department.
Also in the batting, because also you have to see that Jadeja is a left. If you're in Jadeja, you will have only one left-hander in the whole Indian team. That is Pant.
Yep.
And that also, and having this right-left combination, you know, people say this, but it actually causes bowlers to, you know, change their line, not to be in the groove. It is something very important.
Hang on. Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there's a buzzing sound.
Someone's trying to call me. That's what I'm trying to stop. Hang
on.
Give me just 2 seconds. I'll keep talking.
I'll take some India will definitely want to teach New Zealand a lesson. Yeah, Puranjay, I agree on that. 23 Sai. Ronaldo and Virat will play in Manchester on the 11th. Yeah, Sunday, right? That's on Sunday, correct?
Yeah. So, all right. Okay, that's been sorted. You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. This person made a big effort to call me. That's why I try to keep. The two. That's why I've got 2 phones. Otherwise, everybody calls me on the video phone, which is dangerous because it can cut out your whole video. It actually happened to me once. I was in the middle of a really in-depth discussion, recorded message about Australian newspapers, and I got cut right at the point. But I still said I'll bugger it, and I uploaded the video with the cut. And everybody said to me, Norman, you stopped you're about to say something really interesting, but you stopped. What happened? And they were more intrigued about how the video stopped. And it created more of a stir. It was very funny. All right, what were you saying?
No, one person was talking about on Sunday, the Virat as well as Ronaldo will be playing in Manchester.
That's a great comment. So
Yeah.
you'll see Anderson coming from one end and Cristiano Ronaldo. That's going to be what an amazing thing to be able to witness. So what happened? Ronaldo's gone back to Manchester United.
Correct.
Wow. For what sort of money? Oh, my God. I'm pretty sure that...
I think the top earners in the world are actually NBA players, if I'm not wrong. After that come the football players, Ronaldo, Messi. But the top earners are, I think, NBA players.
Are you sure about that? I thought it was all the way around. Although these transfer fees, have you heard these transfer fees? The players don't get that transfer fee. Hundreds of millions. I mean, look, they're still worth, several $100 million. But Michael Jordan, and oh God, Michael Jordan's a billionaire. He's no longer playing, but he's a multi-billionaire. Very clever man. I actually knew a girl who was based here in Australia, who Sharon's, I can't remember Sharon's last name, but she was an American basketballer who now lives in Australia, who was very close friends to Michael Jordan. And what she described, he was an amazing guy.
Michael Jordan's shoes just sell for, if you have a shoe that he would have won, you would be a millionaire there itself.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah. Just you have one pair of shoe that he would have won, let's say, for one match.
There is a bit of a surprising thing when it comes to purchases. I mean, look, cars are now getting out of hand. You're getting cars which are worth $7, $8, $9, $10 million for a car, which is ridiculous. Then you have watches. This is a simple watch. It might be very detailed. They're selling for several $1 million. Why would you buy a watch for that much money? That's ridiculous. I mean, it's a collector's item. How could you couldn't wear it because it's worth too much money? You need an armed guard to follow you around.
Costliest watch I know in my college, one guy used to wear was roughly around $500,000 US. That's what I've seen. I got shocked.
Even if I had all the money in the world, I still wouldn't wear a watch like that because I just don't see the point.
I don't even wear watches. I find them very uncomfortable. Nowadays, you have the time in the mobile and everything. Why do you need a watch?
I don't wear a watch. Yeah, exactly. I
used to wear it before when mobiles were not there and you needed to. But once mobile came and you got the time, really it made no sense.
Yeah, there's no point anymore. It's lost its flavor, if you ask me.
Asha's commenting Conor McGregor has a $3 million USD watch.
Conor McGregor has a $3 million watch, yes. There's a guy that puts his name in.
He's the MMA fighter, right? If I'm not wrong. MMA.
Yeah. Do you think Sharma will replace Siraj? Yeah, I think Siraj doesn't deserve to be dropped by any means. But he didn't bowl that well in the last Test match. But I think they need to rotate Sharmi back in because he's a great player. Siraj not injured? I haven't heard anything about Siraj. We don't know. We really don't know what happens with players who are in injuries. It's hard to say. Bumrah had a calf injury, which was actually a cramp, but still. So Sai is saying that Siraj was injured. If he is injured, that kind of explains his bowling performance. Doesn't it?
I don't know. Let's see. That's news to me. Siraj is injured.
We don't get really told much about the bowlers' injuries, do we, beforehand? They tend to keep that to themselves. That's for sure. It's been another very busy day. Obviously, a lot of interest in the next week will come up for this next match. I think the interest will be huge because even though India have won the series so far, this next match could all be undone, couldn't it? If they lose this next match, it'll be quite sad because that means they've missed out the opportunity.
South Africa already 2 down, 13 for 2, 3 overs.
Against Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
But it's an ODI. I can't get excited about ODIs in a non-ODI World Cup year. It's sort of it doesn't have the same impact, does it, really?
I don't see any news where it says Siraj is injured.
You Googled that, have you?
Yeah. No, seeing on Crick Info, usually anything, even small news is present over there.
See, the BCCI don't keep as much, do they? They don't really keep that information that current.
Okay, Norman, I'll take a leave.
All right, thanks. Thanks again.
Carry on. Bye bye, everybody.
Say goodbye to Graham Irani. He's got his Aero t-shirt there.
Bye bye.
See you. Thanks a lot. Yet again, Bahram Irani. It's great to talk to about cricket. He knows his cricket very well. Will Josh Butler play the next match? Sophie Bay. I think he's been brought back in to do so. Why would you bring a man back from his wife's birth unless you're going to bring him back into play? My thoughts on India and New Zealand. You're talking about the World Test Championship, which just passed. We're talking the Test series coming up in India. Well, Ashwin will play a large role in that one, I'll tell you, and he will murder New Zealand. New Zealand are going to be in for a real fight because I don't think India's going to be very happy with New Zealand after being beaten. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's have a look here. Again, guys, I want to take a question. I did take a question up, but I'm not going to, Adolf, I'm not going to talk to you if you put that name on there. You need to change your name totally to your real name. Hazaranga not so good against South Africa. Why this happened against India? He's probably not as good a player. Consistency about players is a very important thing. Consistency is always an issue. New Zealand have no good spinners. That's true. New Zealand's going to be in some deep trouble. They're going to be given a hell of a roasting. It's time to bring back Butler, Stokes, and Archibald. AMJ Butler is coming back this Test match. Ben Stokes is still out due to his mental state, and Archer injury has gone through an operation or two. His rehabilitation's long. He's got a chronic nature to his elbow injury. There's several aspects to it. He's not likely to return in any hurry, nor is he going to be anywhere near the bowl that he was, and may suffer from this injury time and time again, which is very sad. Very sad indeed. Okay, that was around 9 a second ago. Okay. All right, guys. So what about Pant's bad form? This is Rishabh Pant scored 50 on the last innings with a great performance with Shardul Thakur got 60 and batted both very, very well. No, I think he's only one game away from scoring a massive score. Don't worry. Do you think Kohli will give one more chance to Rahane? Yes. Which country are you from? Watchman, I am from Coogee Beach in Sydney, Australia. Okay. Very close to the Randwick end of the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. Very, very close indeed. I look ahead into India. We had already answered that question. So you're going to play 3 spinners and 2 pace bowlers. Rohit, Rahul, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin, Aksar, Shami, and Bumrah. It's not a bad side. Okay. Why should the world's best championship be settled in one test? There should be a full 3 to 5. Yeah, but that's, well, you play FA Cup finals with one match. You play other forms of games with a final. Now, I think that's the way it has to be. Otherwise, it becomes too elongated and very complicated and not really a final. It's got to be one match. Lapata gamer, King Kohli certainly is. According to you, who was your man of the match in the 4th test match? Shardul Thakur. Closely followed by Rohit Sharma, definitely, and Bumrah, but no, Shardul Thakur. Whereas Munchie, want to see him in action after yesterday. Munchie's actually playing golf on a golf holiday, so he wants to switch off everything, which you've got to respect. You've got to respect that. Absolutely. I think it'll be 3-1 India. 3-1 India. Heard it here. Coogee nearest. Well, Sydney Harbour's to the north or to one side, and it goes around the south head down towards Bondi and down to Coogee Beach. So it's pretty close. What is the final result going? Please take my question. What's your question? I've already answered. I said 3-1. We'll be Boomer best bowler this decade soon. I think you're right, Sharari. Garth. I've definitely been a very good bowler. Well, guys, we've got a further 10,000 viewers today, and on this particular session, I'm very proud of that. We've got very good viewership here at the moment, and even on a day off, it's so-called day off. It's been great. So please, guys, if you're online now and you haven't subscribed, please go and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to subscribe. Hit the notification button as well. Now, when you should be handed over the Ashes Trophy. Well, the Ashes Trophy is specifically for the Ashes between Australia and England, but they should create something similar. Yes. Well, they try to be fair, didn't they? But they haven't really played well enough. It's probably more the issue. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, Dhoni's not. Is it Dhoni's not? Good. Paranjay, so Steve, thank you. We'll say goodbye to you. My favourite, my favourite Indian dish is mutton curry. Change your name. I'm giving you $5 to super chat. Thank you. Anyone that's online that hasn't actually hit the subscriber button, please do, because I'm looking at it and I'm not seeing a lot of movement as much as I would like to see. So please hit the subscriber button and subscribe. If you're watching this, don't just come on and float in and float out. Test match era started. India made test. I think so. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally and utterly agree. No, I don't think it's going to be 4. No, I think England will win at least 1 or 2 matches. Yes. Sky may not get a Guernsey, at least not in the near future. Nice program. Thanks, Asli Hindu. Thank you very much. Well, if you're going to follow me, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Can Rowan or someone else come in? I wish they could. I wish they really could. That would be probably a nice little addition to the whole thing. I would agree. I wish they would. I would agree. Yes, he will be. Yeah, fearless or fearless. Thank you. All about living. Yes, he will be. Definitely, he's in the playing 11, without any doubt. Oh, guys, we're coming up to 2 hours now, so now Adolf wants to take another Kim Jong-un. No, get your real name, Norman. When are you going for the fifth test preview? Well, stays the 7th, 8th. It'll probably be not tomorrow, but the day after, the 9th. Well, you need to bring in Ishan Kishan, and Sky will be in that scrub. Samsung as well. Darwin deserves his go. Best test captain at the moment. Well, Root was certainly up there, but Kohli, I think, would be better than him at the moment. And Williamson would be right up there as well. Oh, if they're bringing spinners, it will be, but if they're not bringing spinners, it won't make any difference at all. Opening with Pope and Butler, no. Do you think currently India have the best bowling lineup? Pretty close to it, yes. The 5th test starts on the 10th of September. So today is still the 7th. So we've got 8th and 9th. 9th will be the preview, 10th will be the match. Why did Australia lose against West Indies Bangladesh? Because they just put their side forward. What do you think about the favourites after the World Cup? India with England. Those test pitches are the ones that start spinning on day 4. Yes, you're right. Bit of pace, a bit of batting. Yeah, correct. That is the best wicket. So they went a bit too hard with keeping it long. I wanted Aussies. Oh God. We are very happy to see our chat on your video icon. Thank you, Anuraj Raj. Thank you very much, guys. But I'm getting a bit tired, guys. So I've got to consider going soon. It's starting to wane. Dr. Ramachan Rai, they mount overly at each other's throats. But if Kohli, Rohit scores few more crucial centuries in test match, Kohli keeps falling in the bat, the glamour should will increase. Wow. It's not relevant at this point because Kohli has won. Kohli is a long-term test captain. Rohit Sharma's done very well in the short form. He may push for that selection, perhaps not for test selection. No, as captain, no. Nick Joe to come before rain. Well, let's see. Bye. Do you think Chido's coming? Whatever I just mentioned about that. Being in the Olympics is good there, Adolf. I'm not going to put your name up on the screen. No. Thanks too, Brian. I'm just about think that I've had enough, guys. I'm going to go to 2 hours and then I'll cut off. It's okay. I have a video there which talks about the predictions. You will see that the predictions video. You should have actually all viewed that. It is called Predictions with My Crystal Ball. It was quite funny, I thought. 967. So please take a rest. I will. Ashwin Hashid Yadav, I don't think he will. If England put Jack Leach in, they may send a signal to India that it may be more of a spinning wicket than we first think. So that's probably where the issue will be. Come on, guys, don't forget my video that's there regarding the predictions. It's funny. Have a look at it. It's about 4 or 5 minutes long. Have a look at it, guys. Look at all my videos. I've got great videos there on Thompson. I think there were no changes. I think you're right. Listener's injury. Mark Wood will come back for England and Butler will come back in. Leach maybe. And the Indian side, depending on Bajara and Rohit's fitnesses, we'll have to decide that. But otherwise, the Indian line will say with maybe Sharma coming back. Maybe Sharma. Wow. So go back and have a look at the video called Predictions, guys. It's just one of the other videos. Some of you can leave and go and watch that if you want. It's called Predictions. It's certainly okay. England will full strength bends. I'm not sure what you mean by all that. England will bring Mark Wood definitely back in. Ocean probably will go. And Butler will come back in, and Pope may be the one, unfortunately, to go. Unfortunate, but he didn't play well in the second innings. He played pretty ordinary shot, actually. Pretty ordinary indeed. Okay. I think India finally find a good opener in this test match. They certainly have. KL Rahul's magnificent. Rohit Sharma is outstanding. Both have scored buys and cricket with Nostradamus. That's it. Abhishek, that's right. How about Michael Hussey as a coach? That would be a good idea. As long as it doesn't go too gung-ho. Yes, I would agree with that. Amazing numbers, guys. England, Pally without Burns, Ben Stokes, without Broad, without Joffrey. Yeah, don't forget, that's another good conclusion. The return of Broad with Ben Stokes would be fantastic for England and Joffrey Archer. They lost some 3 pretty big guns there with Anderson on the side. Robinson, they've got quite a bit of get up and go guys, haven't they, really? They've got a lot going on there. All right, guys, we're coming up to 2 hours now. Those that are joining us, please view, like, and share the post. Then share through WhatsApp, Instagram, social media such as Facebook Messenger, word of mouth, emails, and also hit the subscribe button so they become subscribed, and also the notification bell. Please give that a hit. Then you'll be able to also see me there as well, and you'll see that I've got at Norman Koch is my Instagram, my Instagram and my Twitter handle, as well as my Norman Koch link for my Facebook and also my LinkedIn. Oh, Rohit Sharma and Rahul could well be the openers, if not Kohli. They've got India's extremely, well situated to play well in the World Cup. They've got a really gun bunch of blokes. If they fire, they're going to beat everybody. West Indies are always that iffiness about them. Pakistan can be good on the day. England are very, very solid as well, with guys like Jason Roy and the like coming in. And New Zealand might have a chance. But Australia, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh depends on how they perform. They're all pretty much out. Can KL Rahul be a future captain? Perhaps. You watched the prediction, but did you like this setup? That's funny, isn't it? I rather liked it. David Gravity, OBE, Order of the British Empire. Quite an amazing, distinguished man. Okay. CSK, Chennai Super Kings. Or who are you talking about? Or you're talking about Ronaldo. He's 7, isn't he? Yes. Take your 4 teams for the World Cup final. Again, I've said many, many times. India, England, West Indies. They're my top 3. 4th will be either Pakistan, New Zealand. Then everyone else is out of that bunch, namely South Africa, Australia, even Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. They're out, and then the other rounds of other players. I didn't ask your question, Punajay. I thought you were going for it, Jay. We'll see. What question did you bring up? This one here, is it? There is one chance of India is to lose. Well, Tyson Root tells his squad first colleague could make a last-minute call if each player Ashwin does. First take commission and play Grassy was there. Yeah, there's a possibility that Leach and Ashwin will play. Possibility, but why didn't they both play them in the Test match just passed? Is the question. When did England lose 2 consecutive Test series and the home winner? It's been a while, that's for sure. It's been a long, long, long while for sure. My thoughts on the Barmy Army are great. Any supporter base like the Bharat Army are also fantastic. They both, deserve a lot of accolades for what they do. Go and watch that predictions video, please. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, this debrief video has been very good. Indian playing 11 with the T20 World Cup. Sharma, Rahul Kohli with Darwan there somewhere. Ishan Kishan Sky, Samsung as well, and you got Samson. Then you got Punt, and you got potentially Jadeja, maybe Ashwin. Then you got bowlers like Bumrah, Bhuvi Kumar, maybe Shami or Siraj. They've got an incredible side. Incredible side. Shardul Thakur has to factor into that as well. Oh my God. Yeah, Darwin needs to be given a chance, I think. Bikash Boglari, there is a chance. Of course there is. He's in the squad. And if Jack Leach is being considered, then he might see a reason to include him as well. That is Ashwin. Possibility. What are your thoughts on Surya Kumar replacing Rahane for Test? JJ, I don't think it's going to happen. No, Ashwin's a chance, but not a strong chance. Shardul or Hardik in playing 11 for clearly Shardul Thakur. Hardik Pandya can't bowl, and he's got to be able to bowl to be in that position of an all-rounder. Don't you think? That's my thoughts. Just having a look at a few things here, guys. All right. Is England missing a batting all-rounder? Well, Ben Stokes was their batting all-rounder by 100 miles. Adolf, I'm not mentioning it. No one say Secret of Oz so well. In Australia, the Olympics will be happening in Birmingham next year, the women's cricket, that is. And then in 2028 in Los Angeles, followed by 32 in Brisbane. They're looking at having cricket in the Olympics, which is quite exciting. Salman Khan, I think, mentioned the match was going to be a draw because the first 3 days there were rain prediction. Well, that's what they're still saying. Rain's going to be a major effect over that performance. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens, actually. It's going to be a very, very interesting day, or set of days. Hopefully we get a game. But if we get a draw, India will win again, 2-1. So it's England has to win that match to be able to draw the series. So the shoe's on their foot for once, which is great. India, just been amazing, guys. Just been amazing. Been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Every day it's a bonanza, really. All right, guys, we've gone over 2 hours here. What do you say? I'm going to. I said that Medal and Talia says Australia is in the top 10 of the Olympics, absolutely, especially the Olympics as opposed to the Paralympics, absolutely, absolutely. If you're joining me now and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, guys. Hit the subscribe button right now. Hit it. It's right in front of you. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notifications button. View, like, and share the posts that are there that you have in front of you. Also, go about sending it through WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, your email services, word of mouth. Tell people about it. Continue another 2 like yesterday. Continue another 2. What do you mean? Like miss one and miss the other? Is that what you mean, bro? Yes. And when you got excited where someone can't answer, by the way, Tom Cruise is here. All right. I'm sure it's not Salman Khan. I'm pretty sure. He'd want to come on. I'd bring him on the video if that was the case. Have you seen a pattern in the toss? Lose toss, win match in the series. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Take rest, otherwise I will be ill. That's a fair call, guys. I'm starting to get that way. Yes, I am. Continue another 2 hours. Oh, you reckon, bro? I'm going to continue another 2 hours? Why? Because you're lying back with your vodka or something now? It is a great professional area, you're right. Why would you not watch? Why would you be on and then not watch? Then there's not. Why would you be on and then continue watching? That's intriguing. Or you're re-seeing your part of the video. It's just some of them. Okay. You love the show. We were on the show. Hardik Pandya should replace Shardul. No way. Love from India. I think Hardik Singh 56. Virat Kohli, what are you talking about? Actually, did I post your... I need to make sure I posted your... So Gurkha, I'm still going. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to stop now. I think this is enough. Take a rest, Norman. I will exactly do that, guys. Thank you all for everything. Okay. View, like, and share the posts. Make sure you share and then make subscribe and then go about everything. We can be on regular. What did Baram do for a living apart from making millions in your show? Amit Dungwal. Ask Baram Irani's directly. He's in the Philippines, actually. Maybe he's an oil magnate. I'm not sure. And another amazing comment on your show today. Thank you, Sharari Garth. I really appreciate it. So, guys, subscribe. I'm very happy that someone's just come and called me who I haven't seen in a long time. So, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button now. Then go about to subscribe, notification, view, like, and share. Make it all happen, guys. All the best to you. See you tomorrow for another show. We'll also the preview show into the 5th test. Go India. All right. All the best, guys. Go India. You happy with me? Make your last comment. Let me see that you're happy. All right. I'm very happy now. Just got to make sure. There's one thing I wanted to do is to Manava vlog. What's that? Subscription now. What do you mean? Are you Sharath? Are you just subscribing now? You've been subscribing for a while. YouTube gave money for view. No subscribers. I want people to follow me. I like that. Okay. Good night, all. More than happy. Okay. Good, guys. All the best, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Because I'm trying to get this. There's one little thing I want to do. Go and watch the prediction video, guys. Watch the prediction video. Predictions with my crystal ball. I put it up as it's quite funny. Okay. All right, guys. Where do these more people come from? I'm asking. It's just awesome. I know you have already. Like the Barmy Army has. I thought you were Shraya for a long time. We should get all the fans to hear a name. Exactly. Well, the numbers are. It's been an incredibly busy show. Incredibly busy. What do you want me to, bro? Where are you from? Suraj Pratap Singh. I'm from Coogee Beach, Sydney, Australia. About 5 kilometres from the southern end, or the Randwick end of the SCG. What did I say? You absolutely crushed that one. I did, didn't I? Akash, I'm from India. Good. Ashutosh Singh, unsubscribe. Why do you want to unsubscribe? Don't do that, please. Okay, guys. Certainly moving along nicely. I think I'll go, guys. Unless I get some good questions. Hello, sir. What is my name? Harsh Bio Lover. It's Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnek. This is my YouTube channel called Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnek. So Harsh Bio Lover, you should go ahead and hit the button. If England doesn't win Oval Test match because of first things batting should score. Okay, fair point. Chinmay asks, hello. Do you see England coming back in their next match? Well, they should come back. Yeah, they should come back. But whether they'll win is the question. All right, guys. If you can't ask me questions, I'll have to go. Go to the predictions video, guys. I want to see you at the predictions video. So which language are you speaking? Because I'm not able to understand. I'm speaking English. You must be able to understand. Wonderful. I love that. The pitch will be a fast bowler's pitch. Anderson Robinson will look overworked. Advantage India. Yeah, that's true. I'm seeing they looked overworked big time. Big time. Hugely overworked. Guys, you keep coming at me. Updating Indian Test squad announcement hasn't the World T20 World Cup hasn't been announced yet. I haven't seen any evidence of it yet, so it's coming. It'll be there very shortly. Yeah, the Joe Root video went really well. Your favourite cricketer, Rahul or Virat? It's a hard one. I'll say Virat. I think they will too. I think it'll be 3-1. I think the momentum's really gone. No doubt. Crystal ball time for the 5th test. Is that what you want? Crystal ball, Amrish? Here it is. The crystal ball is saying bad weather, day or two lost, shortened version, bowlers like Anderson bowling well, Bumrah bowling well if he plays, India win. Anyway, series 3-1. What's my IPL team? Kolkata Knight Riders is a team I like, my fan team. The team I think will win will be Delhi Capitals, and Mumbai Indians will go close. It's more of a bowling pitch, I thought, Manchester. I'd say Virat Kohli. 3-1 it is then. Exactly. The crystal ball says all. Let's just have a look here. I'm the Royal Challenge RCB. Well, they've got a great side. They've got there's no if and buts when you there are no ifs and buts when you use the crystal ball. It's been pretty right. I predicted the Gabba win and the last match. Guys, go and have a look at this prediction video. Really, I like it a lot. Oh God, yes. Satvik, Bazara, Gaurav, how are you? All right, guys, I've got to get going, I think. I'll see if someone's there. Okay. I'm a fan of RCB because of Maxwell, ABD, and Villiers and Virat Kohli. Why shouldn't you be? They're 3 amazing players to have in the one side, that's for sure. Absolutely amazing. Norman, how about a freewheeling show with the West Indies boys before the 5th? For the 5th, the West Indies boys, as in you meant what's his name? Viv Rich's brother. Root's next match plan will be to bat more aggressively, I'd say. All right, guys. It's time. All right, okay. It's 6 minutes to midnight here, okay? Ashwin will probably not be selected unless Jadeja goes out, and that won't happen. So Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, and Umesh Yadav have kept their position, so why would you take them out? Do I play PUBG? What's PUBG? Oh, it is. What's the news on Bible Manchester? Good as far as I'm aware. Regin Davidson. Okay, I'll try and get him on. The 2020 World Cup will be won by India at this point. You'd have to think. Definitely. And England will be the next person. It'll be a nice warm show. You mean an Aussie and a Pom do? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Well, I shouldn't play the next Test match. No, I don't think so. Maxwell versus Gravity round 2 coming up next. Oh, that comes. That's a great show, isn't it? Jimmy Maxwell and Dave Gravity, great show. Do you have any news about IPL? No, not. It's been a lot discussed about ins and outs, but we'll talk about that after the Test match. We're too nice to be attacked. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's probably a thing they need to work on. Why don't you guys go to the prediction video for me? Go to the prediction. Alistair Cook was the best captain that England. Oh, there were quite a few good England captains going back. Ken Barrington, Ellingworth. There's quite a few, actually. They were pretty good too. Well, we're dropping numbers, which is good to see, so that means I can get going. All right, guys, I think I'm going to stop there. View, like, and share the post, guys. Livingston's a big impact player. Yes, he is. Try to make sure that you view, like, and share the posts, that you share them on Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, you name it. And then be able to help me out that way. Bye, sister. I'm not your sister. Will Moen play the next match? A good question. Moen Ali made me taken by Jack West. That's the discussion. Can't you clip the original for that? You recorded by phone. Bye, sir. All right, guys. I'm going to go. All right, guys. Take care. Not how it's going to be a fast bowler, seaming wicket. It'll be raining for most of the match. There'll be lots of in and out off the ground. Spinners shouldn't be to play all that. They've brought Jack Leach back in. That's bizarre. Very unusual selection, to say the least. But all right, guys. Got to go. Yeah, that's long enough. Okay, I'm talking the prediction video. No, okay, all right. Yeah, okay, that's a good group. All right. The whole video was actually the pre-show. It was day 5's pre-show. That was the entire episode. I just took that bit out. Interesting. Yeah, probably. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Talk soon. Eyes on Cricket with Normal Contact. Subscribe to both Eyes on Cricket. Okay. Here, Eyes on Cricket. My Instagram and my Twitter handle there at Normal Contact. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell, the notifications button. View, like, and share, as I said. Send through WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like to share it. And ultimately through your word of mouth, and on top of that, email. So all the best, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow.